Today we're going to do the final steps in our Linux Mint computer that we have started with Windows 11. We walked through some of the issues with it. Then we talked about how to switch that Windows 11 computer over into Linux. And now I'm walking through the final steps. I'm setting the computer up according to the specifications that my friend wanted on the system. So once we have this done, the computer is going to be ready to ship out, and we are going to go ahead and walk through our steps. Thanks for checking out Switch to Linux, and this is that final video on getting a computer all set up. We bought the computer from a pawn shop with Windows 11 on it. We did the full testing, everything. We looked at starting with a Windows computer and actually installing Linux to that system, and now we're going to be doing the final setup after we got it all set up. Now I talked with him on the phone, found out what type of software he wanted, how he likes his computer set up, and I'm going to be setting everything up according to what his specifications are. We're also going to be doing a couple of not major Firefox hardening things, because mostly I'm going to be using LibreWolf with him. We're also installing Brave as a backup browser, and I'm doing just a couple minor harden things on Firefox. We're going to be looking at the web apps tool for regularly visiting the same websites without having to go to them in separate bookmarks. And we're talking about how to update the system and a few other steps like that. So we'll go ahead and jump on over to the computer with the capture card so we can see that. Now, I opted to use the capture card even though the resolution is a little bit lower rather than using the screen recorder, just because there'd be steps that I would have to do before getting a screen recorder installed. And I just wanted to go ahead and give you everything raw. So the video resolution is not as high because for some reason my capture card doesn't capture the video as good. Maybe I just need to look at my video settings more. I don't know. I'll play with that in the future. But anyway, we are going to walk you through all of the processes involved in getting the computer all set up. So with that, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and let's have a look over to the computer to see our last steps. Now logged into the system, we're just going to go ahead and run through the first initial steps you might want to do. Now, I've already changed a couple little tweaks here and there. You'll see I have red colors. Your default's going to be blue. I don't recall if I've made any other major changes here. So we're going to do a couple things. I'm going to do a couple of them concurrently here just to speed up the process. First thing we're going to do is you'll come down and you have a couple things in your system tray down here. You have your shield with the dot. The dot means that there is an update available. This guy over here is the system reports. This is where if there's something the system wants you to know, it's going to tell you. The first one is about language packs. We're going to ignore this. The next versions of Linux Mint might have a little bit less of this going on because they're going to be streamlining how the languages work. But for this current version, that is fine. So that's the only thing they're giving us right now. So hopefully we shouldn't see that block. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. Usually in Linux Mint, if there is a update to the update manager, it'll give you that first. So we'll go ahead and push OK. And then it says apply this update. So we're going to go ahead and apply the update. We need to enter our password here. And then this is going to apply the update to the update manager. And fortunately, I have pretty good internet where I'm at, so we should not have any major issues. Now you'll see this blue screen at the top that says, do you want to switch to a local mirror? And what this is going to do is this is going to make sure that when it's downloading and software and checking for new versions, it's using the best possible repository. So the repositories are where the software comes from, and there's tons of them throughout the world. And so ideally you want to pick something that is close to you and has a fast connection. So usually here in the United States, packages.linuxmint.com is going to be one of the best. There might be a few other that appear. Ideally you want to pick something to the top of the list. You'll notice that it's automatically ranking the speed based on how fast they are. And as it searches through, you'll see that they'll get faster and slower. We're just going to go ahead and say apply that. And then the next one is your Debian backports. So Linux Mint requires a Mint package and a base package. On this version, which is the LMDE, we're using Debian. If you had the traditional Ubuntu-based version of Linux Mint, this is going to be your Ubuntu core. And so we'll see what we have here. So this here, we have a Cloud DVR. So that one's really fast. We'll see if there's one or two other ones that show up a little bit quicker here. So this was our default. You'll notice that's not bad, but it's also not in the United States. So we probably want to pick something closer to our actual region. I often like using universities, so I might go ahead and use Birmingham.edu, but that's not a necessity. There's also an MIT. In this case, I'm just going to go for the faster one in this case, and it will give you this notice here. Do you want to update your apt cache? This is what checks the versions of software on your computer compared to the versions of software that is available. So anytime you make changes to these, you want to update this in case there's a slight difference between the last check and what the real software is. You're always going to want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and let that do its thing. You can click the details. You'll see it's downloading the packages. So right now it's just downloading just a series of software here. We're again going to let that do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and walk back over to the welcome screen. So the first step we want to do is we want to look at our colors. So my friend says that he likes the light colors over the dark colors. Here's the mixed, which gives you kind of darker menus there. The light colors is this. I think this is too bright. I think he's probably going to like this one better. So I'm going to go ahead and take the risk at that. And he does like teal the most. So we have a couple bluish or tealish type options. So we'll see what options we have here. This one might be closest to the look and style that he's used to. So I'm going to go ahead and probably go with this one. Now there's a couple different styles we can do as well. These will kind of change it between the different versions of software that we've had. I think this is probably the best for right now. So we're going to go ahead and choose this. So now we have nice light blues. We have a little darker on the menus and things, but lighter everywhere else. I think that that's what he will probably like the most. Let's come back over to our software sources. You'll see that is finished. And so now it says, let's go ahead and push the refresh button. And this is just going to make sure that everything in the update manager is going to be aligning with the latest versions that we just got. And so you'll see that we have a series of updates to do. So I'm going to go ahead and install updates. So this is going to install the following packages. And we need to enter our password again. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now it's going to be downloading the packages. So you see where its download process is. It's going to download everything. So it says about 4 minutes remaining. And then we are going to be set to go. All right, so our theming is set up. Our next is our system snapshots. Now, I'm not going to worry about setting up system snapshots. I don't know, it might be a good idea on this particular computer. I don't know. You know what? Let's go ahead and do some system snapshots. Let's go ahead and enter our password. This is not something I usually do, but since this computer is going to live several thousand miles away from where I usually am, let's go ahead and set these up. That way, we're not going to do a lot of system snapshots. I'm not going to have it constantly updating, but we're going to make sure at least he has one good backup of the system in case something goes wonky on him down the road. So we'll go ahead and choose our snapshots. We'll hit our next button. And then what is the snapshot level? A Word is going to do a monthly. We're going to keep one a month. And let's see, stop cron emails. Yeah, we're not going to do any emails or anything. And then we're going to do our root and our, let's see, we're excluding our root. We're excluding our home. So I think that the default should be set up. I don't use time shift or snapshots as much. So this is using the time shift module. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm not going to create it yet. And the reason we're not going to create this snapshot right now is because it's still updating the software. We don't want it to be updating when we try and do a snapshot, because this is basically going to take a copy of everything on the computer as it currently is and create a restore point. So if there's something goes wrong with the computer, it's going to go ahead and fix itself. So we'll go ahead and do that. Update Manager, that's what we are already doing. There are some system settings we want to do. So the biggest system setting I have right now is I don't think my friend likes this style of icons. I know they're the popular rage, but I don't like them. Of course, I did a full video about how to do that, so I'm not going to do this in real quick detail. But basically, we're going to turn on the panel edit mode. I'm going to go into applets. I'm going to add the quick launch bar. I've got to find the launcher. I think it's called the panel launchers. There it is. We're going to click on the panel launchers. We're going to add the panel launchers. That'll add them over on this side here. So we're going to move these over here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to unpin. Well, let's first turn off our panel edit mode. Now we are going to unpin all of the software from the panels. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to applet preferences. We're going to configure, just clicking on any of the open tabs. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to just change these guys into showing the button labels. So here's your application name. And we're going to not group them so that way if there's multiple instances of a browser open, they're not stacked on top of each other, which can make it hard for some people to see. And then we're not going to do a window count. We are going to be able to allow these to be dragged and dropped. That means we can move the order around down here manually. If you turn that off, you can't do that. And then I think that's pretty good. So that's pretty much all the steps you need to do. And now we just need to go ahead and make sure that all of the applications are down here that we want. Now, I also know that he wants, we're going to go ahead and add this to the panel. I think actually that pins it now. So that used to just add it to the launchers. Now it doesn't. So we need to grab it and just drag it into your launchers section. I'm going to take the terminal out because I know he's not going to use that. And the other thing I know is that he likes having things on the desktop, like shortcuts. So we're going to right click. We're going to add to desktop. Then we are going to go to our spreadsheet. We're going to add that to the desktop. Not sure why the writer didn't show up with its icon. We'll look at that in a second. We're going to go down to Thunderbird. Add that to the desktop. Yeah, I'm not sure why this one, let me delete this. And we're going to try add that again. I'm not sure why that did not add the icon. There you go. Now it added the icon. Okay, the other thing, he might want a trash can on there, so we're going to go ahead and do, let's see, we customize the desktop, and then hit your desktop settings, and then this is where you can turn things on. So home is where all of your files reside, so we're going to turn home on, and we're going to turn the trash can on. We're going to keep the mounted drives on, so if you plug in a USB drive, it'll show up. And we'll go ahead and keep those about how they are. Not sure if he's going to want slightly larger icons. I'm going to go ahead and boost the icons just a little bit. And we believe we can boost. Let's boost the. This is adjusting the spacing. Yeah, I'd say let's go ahead and boost the system font a little bit as well. So we're going to jump into your settings. And font selection and default font. I'm just going to up this font a little bit. There you go. Make things just a little bit bigger. It might be a little bit too big. But anyway, you can see what you can do. Here's your desktop font. So you can increase the size of those. Document font. We're just going to bump those up just a little bit. Okay. So now things are a little bit bigger, a little bit easier on the eyes to see for some people. And Update Manager, here's your system settings. We're going to look at our Software Manager. Again, with the Software Manager, we're not going to do any adjustments to that until this is done. And then looking at our firewall settings, let's go ahead and have a brief look at that. Go ahead and turn our firewall on. It's going to deny any incoming, and I'll provide instructions for turning off the firewall if this happens to cause any issues. It's just going to be some extra protection against any intrusions. So now we have our system set up. We have some things on the desktop. We have our panel set up better. Our systems are updated, and once we get some software added, we're going to go ahead and do our time shift. It does tell us here we have a reboot required. So do we want to reboot that now or later? Let's go ahead and reboot this system now, and then we'll come back for our final steps. Our system is rebooted, and after about 10 seconds or so, we'll get that shield icon show up, and you'll see that it should not have any dots. If it does have some dots in it, it just means that there are more updates after we did that. We can turn this off by toggling this button. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't think he's going to need this when we turn it on. So now it comes to adding some extra software. Now, if you're used to the Linux terminal, you can add software way faster. But since this is more of an introductory, we're not going to use the terminal. I'm just going to walk you through how to do it in your software manager. Now, the first time you boot your software manager, it is going to take a little bit longer time to get everything populated in here, also based on your internet speed, but it will take just a moment here. Subsequent times of booting it, it will be quite a bit quicker. While that's loading, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what he wants to use. He needs to do some writing documents, email, spreadsheets. Those are already installed by default on Linux Mint, whether you're using the LMDE version as we're doing here, or if you're doing the edition that is on the regular Ubuntu. There are a couple of extra pieces of software that he will want on here. The first is he wants to try out a couple different browsers. So it has Firefox by default, which is a good browser. But the other things that he might want to do with this is we're going to go ahead. First, we're going to give him BleachBit. So he likes wiping his computer cache quite a bit. So BleachBit is, he uses CCleaner. Of course, CCleaner, I'm not sure if it still is, but at some point in time, it was kind of compromised into nonsense. And so be careful of that if you're still on Windows using that. But here on Linux, we have BleachBit, which has the full Clinton endorsement. So with that, this is going to allow you to run your cleaning. So we'll go ahead and find that. I think it's under administration as root. We're going to go ahead and add this to the desktop so he can find that. So you double click on this guy. Since we're running this as root, and the reason we're doing it as root is because it does a better job of cleaning things out. If you're not as confident, just run it as a user. It takes care of everything in your user. You know what? That might be a safer thing. I'm going to do that instead. I'm going to go ahead and delete this icon. We're going to go ahead and put the user-based one up instead. I think that'll be safer in his case, and I don't think there's really going to be anything in there that that is going to be added by the regular user that we won't be able to get rid of there. Okay, the next thing I want to look at is, since he likes clearing out his browser cookies and cache incessantly, we're going to go ahead and install LibreWolf as a Flatpak. And this is going to let him have a much better Firefox experience. And also, I recommended him use a couple of different web browsers, especially since he wants to do some banking stuff as well and things with his rental company that need to be done online. Told him if you do those things on a separate browser than you're doing everything else, then that'll be good. So we're going to go ahead and install this. Now, this is a flat pack. This is not available in the software repository. It is a flat pack. So this uses the all-in-one package containers that flat packs will work on most Linux distributions. So if something is in FlatHub, no matter if you're using LMDE or the regular Linux Mint or Ubuntu or Fedora, OpenSUSE, Debian, Flatpak will generally work. So LibreWolf is a browser I would recommend you have a look at. So while we get that going, the other browser is, he does use Brave right now. He doesn't like it quite as much, but we're going to go ahead and install Brave as well. And so that's going to install. And then there's one other tool that he wants to use. He likes looking at conversion numbers. He was an engineer. And so there is a nice conversion tool. And I found it before, and hopefully I can find it again. Did I spell conversion right? Let's try convert. Basically, it's just it was a tool that we had found that allowed us to do some simple conversions between different software. And I believe convert all. Hey, this was it. Convert all. We're going to go ahead and add that. So this is a repository package. We're going to go ahead and install that. That should install pretty quick. Okay. And you'll see that we have an icon going because it's still working on these two right here. So see it's installing Brave and it's installing LibreWolf. Let's go ahead and find our conversion tool. There you go. And we're going to go ahead and add this to the desktop. Let's do that. So now you can start with the unit here and to the unit here, and then it'll give you your conversions. Let's go ahead and organize these tools here. We'll put the convert over here. Oh, wait, hold on. We need to do one more thing on the desktop. I forgot. We needed to turn off the auto arrange button there. Turn off auto arrange. Now we can move our desktop around. There we go. So we'll put our spreadsheet and our office over here. We'll put our tools there, and we'll put maybe our internet stuff over here. Let's go ahead and add Firefox to the desktop as well. So you'll notice now that we have Firefox a few different places. You can get to it down here in the panel. You can get to it right up here on the favorites, and now you can get to it on the desktop. All of those are going to work about the same. So Brave browser's still going. So it looks like these are the last two, and then we're just going to go ahead and add. What I'm probably going to do is I'll probably add LibreWolf to the panel and over here as well. I'll just keep Brave browser in the menus over here. And based on chatting with him briefly, one other thing we want to do, let's look at the startup applications. Because one thing we would like to do, I don't think he uses anything with Bluetooth. So we're going to turn off Blueman. That's your Bluetooth drivers. We're going to turn those off. We're going to turn off the Mint welcome screen. So it's not even going to do a check for that. And we are actually going to turn off the update manager. And the reason we're turning that off is because he wants to do updates on a regular schedule. He does not want the system to be constantly popping up and saying there's an update. He's going to manage the updates on his own time. So we're going to do that. So now when you start up the system, we won't have the Bluetooth applet, and we won't have the update manager, and we won't have the welcome screen even asking us if we would like to start up or not. Of course, we can always go back in and turn these toggles back on at any time, and I can also manually start any of these applications at any time. I mean, if we just do Mint, there's your welcome, there's your update screen. I think Blueman should be in here as well. That may not be in there, but that might be something we can toggle on in the settings. Yeah, over here is where we turn this on. So that's going to enable us to turn it on. So if you want to keep those guys turned off, you can go ahead and do that. Let's see. So it looks like LibreWolf is done. Brave is still working. Let's go over here. We're going to add this to the desktop, put it over here with our web browsers. And then, of course, we are also going to put that down here so you can get to it there. And let's go ahead and also add it to the favorites. So the favorites is this bar on the side. Well, that should have added to the favorites. Why did it not add to the favorites? I thought it would add it to the bar over there, but maybe we have to do that first. There we go. Okay. And everything else we have, just a brief walkthrough of everything else. Looks like Brave Browser is done. So everything else here, let's just walk through the available applications on this. Archive Manager is for creating and managing, extracting zip archives. Obviously, we have a calculator, a character map. The disk utilities allows you to see what disks are there. Document Viewer just allows you to do any form of work with documents. File Renamer is a new application in Linux Mint more recently. This allows you to do batch renaming of files. Files, of course, is your file manager. So that's, of course, where all your files are. And if you're not familiar with the file structure on Linux, everything is inside of your home folder here. And under your home folder, this is where all of your documents are, your downloads are over here, your music, your pictures, all that kind of stuff is over there. All of your configuration files are hidden folders. Control H will show you your hidden folders. This is where if you make any change to a software package, updating your themes or sessions, anything like that is all available inside of here. So that is something that you can do. All right, the other applications we have Notes, which is just a little on-screen sticky note thing. Redshift is for it'll adjust your colors. Warpinator allows you to share files on a network. That's probably not a useful application for this computer, but USB Image Writer and Image Formatter allows you to write to USB sticks or format USB sticks. This, of course, is the package we installed. Here's a simple drawing tool, document scanner, and a photo viewer. Of course, there's your hex chat. Of course, we're probably not going to use that. Transmission is for torrents. Web apps is a nice, useful thing. So this is a case if you want to create a web app here. What this is going to do is give you an individual site. So let's just create. I know he follows my channel, so let's just do. We'll create this called Switch to Linux, and we'll go ahead and add this in. And for some reason, YouTube still does that www thing, so. And then slash switch to Linux. And then it'll grab the icon from online. Category, which browser do you want to use? Firefox, LibreWolf, or Brave? Let's go ahead and use LibreWolf. We're going to isolate the profile and a incognito window. So there we have it. So let's go ahead and that should show up. There you go. That's going to show up in your menu. So now we're going to go ahead and add this to the desktop. So now this is over here. You just double click on this and it will load up a private window of LibreWolf, and it will automatically load up my channel. So that is what you can do with web apps. So if there's a regular website one visits, you can use web apps, create that little quick icon, and go right to that web page. In fact, I know he uses, we'll add other ones later. I know he uses Amazon a lot, so we can add one for Amazon. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do that a little bit later, but that's under your internet web apps, and you can add those. So if there's a website you regularly visit, you can create it. It'll load itself in its own profile under a private browsing window. So every time you close it, everything just resets and deletes automatically. Here's your full your Office suite. So we have our calendar, we have our library, we have all of the different Office suites from drawing tools, databasing. Impress is your PowerPoint clone, and they all work really well. Celluloid allows you to listen to, watch movies, listen to music, anything like that. Hypnotics gives you free TV stations, and Rhythmbox is mostly for music and podcasts. And we added BleachBit, which allows you to do cleaning your system up. And then all of these are various administrative things. And let's go ahead and turn Time Shift back on now that we have our system mostly ready. We're just going to go ahead and do our system snapshot. And then this system is going to be ready to ship out. So we're going to hit create, and that's going to do now is it's going to go ahead, go through its time, estimate its size, and then it's going to give us an estimated time remaining as it starts going through and creating our files. So what this then is going to do is this is effectively the old Windows system restore points. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And once this is done, the computer is going to be ready to go. We'll have one system snapshot in place. So if there's a problem, we can revert back to that one, and everything else is set up, I believe, the way he's going to want to use it. So with that, thank you for watching. We're going to wrap this video up here. Hopefully this was a good, useful end conclusion to this computer that started with Windows 10 and now is running Linux Mint Debian Edition. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And we will see you guys in the next video.